In a world consumed by paranoia, survival becomes a delicate balancing act, and sometimes, the greatest danger comes from those we trust most. Today, we'll unravel the chilling and tragic story of The Evil, a psychological horror film that explores fear, family, and the thin line between delusion and reality. Our story begins with a mother, known only as Mama, and her two sons, Nolan and Samuel. The three live in complete isolation, surviving off the land in a remote forest. According to Mama, a supernatural force known as the Evil has spread across the world, wiping out humanity. The family believes they are the last survivors. To protect themselves from the Evil, Mama enforces strict rules. Whenever they leave the house, they must stay tied to a rope that connects them back to the building. According to her, if they lose that connection, the Evil can touch them, a fate that guarantees possession or death. Life in the forest is harsh. The brothers spend their days foraging and hunting for food, but cracks are beginning to form in the family's fragile dynamic. Nolan, older and more skeptical, has begun to doubt Mama's claims. Samuel, however, remains devoted to her teachings. One day, while foraging, tension erupts. Nolan's frustration gets the better of him, and in a moment of anger, he deliberately steps on Samuel's rope. Samuel loses his balance, falls, and breaks his ankle. Worse still, his rope snaps, leaving him disconnected. Despite Mama's strict warnings, Nolan unties himself to help his injured brother. The boys are ultimately rescued by Mama, but her encounter with the Evil, now appearing in the form of her deceased mother, leaves her more paranoid than ever. As winter sets in, the family's resources begin to run out. With no fresh food to hunt or forage, they are forced to eat tree bark and scrape by on the little they have left. Meanwhile, Mama's mental state deteriorates. Haunted by disturbing visions of her past, Mama becomes increasingly unstable. She claims that the Evil is growing stronger, and that drastic measures must be taken. In her desperation, Mama makes a grim decision: they must kill and eat the family dog to survive. But Nolan, no longer convinced that the Evil is real, refuses to let her follow through with it. Determined to prove her wrong, Nolan takes a bold risk, cutting her rope and locking her in the greenhouse. His plan is simple: if the Evil is truly real, Mama will face it alone. But instead of revealing the truth, Nolan's actions lead to tragedy. In the grips of despair, Mama takes her own life, believing her children have betrayed her. With Mama gone, Nolan and Samuel are left to fend for themselves. Samuel, devastated by his mother's death, begins to display increasingly erratic behavior, isolating himself, whispering to unseen figures, and growing hostile toward Nolan. Desperate to escape, Nolan ventures farther than ever before and discovers a hiker on a nearby road. He tells the man about his family's isolation and the Evil, but before help can arrive, Samuel appears, armed with a crossbow. In a shocking turn, Samuel kills the hiker. Nolan is left with no choice but to retrieve the man's supplies, taking his food to survive. That night, the hiker's daughter arrives, terrified and searching for her father. When she notices his flashlight in Samuel's hand, she flees. But before she can escape, she reveals her true nature: she is the Evil, and Samuel's fate is sealed. With Samuel now fully possessed, he sets the house ablaze. Nolan is forced to drag his brother into a crawlspace beneath the floorboards, the only refuge from the flames. In a horrifying reveal, the Evil sheds its disguise, taking the form of a snake-like creature. Yet in a desperate embrace, Nolan clings to the monster as it dissipates into ash. Rescuers arrive to find Nolan barely alive. As he's flown to safety, he learns that Samuel has also survived, but something is deeply wrong. In the final haunting moment, Samuel whispers to Nolan, "She loves me more." The camera reveals the final Polaroid photo, showing the Evil standing beside him. Despite all the doubt and deception, Mama was right. The Evil was real all along. The Evil is a story about fear, both real and imagined. Was Mama protecting her children, or was her paranoia what doomed them in the end? In a world consumed by uncertainty, sometimes the greatest threat comes from within.